All right, let's start with Kirk Cousins. He has officially been medically cleared 9 months after popping his Achilles last season with the Vikings. He wants preseason reps, but Cousins says he will not be seeing any live action until week 1.
I want to play, but I think that ask fell on deaf ears. I think, Raheem's model is you're not playing. Like, that's just not, and I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag or anything, but his approach was like, that's just not how we want to do things. I'm sure maybe I could persuade him. Maybe there's a conversation. Who knows how the Dolphins practices go? Maybe he wants to see us in the game. It's just so much that can change. But, I think seeing live bullets and playing is helpful. But I also understand the logic behind not doing it. And everything we do is calculated, and that will be as well.
I don't play fantasy football. Here's my pro tip. He's going to have a great year. Kirk Cousins, if you don't draft until like 9th or 10th, bad division, great O-line, nice weapons, Kirk Cousins is going to chop it up. He's going to have a great year.
Are you saying draft like in terms of fantasy football?
If you're in fantasy football and you don't
football.
have one of the top 5 or 6 guys, you're not sure where to go, Kirk's going to – outside of the Lions, that's probably the best O-line in the sport.
Oh, goodness
Weak
gracious.
division. Weakest schedule. I've said this. I could not tell you the last time I looked at a schedule. And a lot of the go-either-way games, Dallas at home, Chargers at home. I mean, look at the games that you think, oh, that could be a tough one. Kansas City at home. Week 2 at Philly is the one game you look at and think, oh, they'll be an underdog in that one. They play every go-either-way game. Seattle at home. All their go-either-way games are at home.
So I love the optimism. Optimistic Friday.
I said they're going to win 12 games.
Yeah. So let's just put this in perspective. So Kirk Cousins, they pay him a ton of money, then draft Michael Penix.
That's right.
Which surprised Cousins and everybody.
Brilliant. Loved the move. Loved it.
So now Kirk Cousins is not practicing at all. Will not see any live reps, right? Until week 1. Michael Penix will have the preseason. It's his show.
That's exactly how it should be done.
And then the first 3 weeks, Kirk Cousins comes in, and now you got to face one of the most expensive defenses in the league. Then Eagles, I think in prime time. And then week 3 is the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. So there's a world where Kirk Cousins coming in fresh is terrible against good defenses.
Terrible.
Hold up. They start 1-2 or 0-3, and they're like, hey, Michael Penix was awesome in the preseason. Let's get him out there. There is a world where Atlanta has a massively rocky start. And if there's a panic, I would not be surprised if Kirk Cousins is not starting by November.
There is no panic because Raheem Morris is a rookie coach. There is no coach on the hot seat, got to win games. And also, they're not going to go 0-3 to start, even though I've lost more money on the Atlanta Falcons than any NFL team my entire life.
Be careful with them.
They're not going to start. If you look at the schedule, let's just say 1-2, and then they reel off 5 straight wins. I mean, I do not think they're going to lose at home to Pittsburgh, but if they did start 0-3,
but that's in play.
Derek
I think
Carr,
that Eagles game
Baker,
is prime time, Colin.
Then it's a lot of W's.
We know prime time. Kirk Cousins is just, I don't want to diminish the guy,
It's
but
also
he is mightily strong.
Atlanta's media isn't Boston, Philly, New York, Chicago. It's not that loud. It's going to be very supportive.
Very supportive. 0-3. You buffoons paid Kirk Cousins and drafted Penix. You wouldn't even take Belichick. What are we doing here? The media will, the knives will be out.
Very negative approach. Let's just say, I'll say they beat Pittsburgh week 1, lose to Philly, probably lose to Kansas City. Maybe. But remember, when you have the second best O-line, it's hard to be bad with a great O-line. You can be average at quarterback. Dak as a rookie went 13-3 with the best O-line. Jared Goff, get him out of L.A. It's amazing he wins as much as Matt Stafford since he went to Detroit. Why? The receivers? No. The coach? No. The offensive line. Brady had great O-line. Packers, just talked about, most consistent team for 32 years outside of New England. Why? Quarterback and O-line play.
This show's going to do big numbers in Atlanta this fall. When
now
the
they'll lose me a fortune.
They are going to lose you a fortune.
I've bet 100 Falcon games. I bet you as an adult, I've won 7.
So what do you think I should put on Eagles against Falcons week 2? Like a mortgage payment? Is it a 5-2-9 plan?
I'm interested.
What are we
right
doing?
Now live. What is the line on the Pittsburgh game? I would imagine it would be Steelers favored by 1.5. So
on
they get
the road? Ooh.
So my take is, Atlanta gets to be the dog. They'll love that.
Kirk Cousins is such a great underdog. Oh, boy. All right, let's go to Cincinnati, where Jamar Chase is looking to land a new long, paying $50 million.
I think next year's quarterback draft, I think there's a lot of names. There is one that everybody likes. This year, there were two that everybody didn't like, two that everybody loved, Caleb and Jadon. There were three that everybody thought could hit, McCarthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
So you had five where there was very little negativity. The kid at Penn State, raw. Colorado, a lot of ego. There is one quarterback in this class. And so if you're not at the very top, Carolina's in such a bad division. Cowboys or Giants in a better division. So Carolina could have the third pick. My take is they would probably go to the market. And that owner, David Tepper, does not want to start over again. He wants wins. And remember this, is that a Cowboy quarterback comes in well-known. What does Carolina have to do? Sell tickets. So Dak Prescott sells tickets. In college basketball, NASCAR heaven, Charlotte. He sells tickets.
I guess my issue is okay, so Dak's going to come in at $50 million. The Panthers already have garbage skill position players, right? They're one of the weakest skill positions. So, now you can't go spend because you're paying Dak all the money. It's a tough one. You're paying Dak $50 million, and there's going to be a lot of holes.
He's going to get more than 50. He'll get 60 on the market. Now, remember, this year the cap went up $14 million more than people suspected it would. So $60 million will feel like a couple years ago, $55 or $50 million. But so that is something to think about. All this television revenue, all this gambling revenue is going to move the cap up. So 60 sounds crazy today, but it won't be in a year. 60 will be 50 in a year.
All right.
I'm just telling you, Dak is mature. If Dak wins 10 games this year, you're going to say he's won 12, 12, 12, and 10, mature. And who isn't going to like that that's in chaos at quarterback? I mean, again, Dak
what
is
if Sam Darnold wins 10 games with the Vikings?
By the way, ask yourself this. If when my dad passed, I learned a little bit about wills and when parents hand, the money out, if they have any and they pass, they're not necessarily always handing it out to the smartest kid or the nicest kid. They're giving it to the most mature kid who can handle dealing with the will, the executor of the will. The parents look at who's the grown-up of the kids, who can handle it emotionally. Dak may be the best quarterback in the league at the podium since Brady retired. And he was probably number 2 to Brady forever. He puts out fires. He says the right stuff. David Tepper in Carolina is not going to roll the dice on a college kid when he's losing season ticket holders because they can't win games. He's going to go get that really popular national name Dak from the Cowboys. And you don't think the Giants would be interested? You think they want to go back to the draft and do another 5 years with a Daniel Jones knockoff? Brian Daboll's going to say, I can win 14 games with Dak. He'll be 31, 32 at the time.
By the way, Riley Leonard, a Notre Dame quarterback who was at Duke, he is supposedly in the Daniel Jones mold. So you can have, discount Daniel Jones in the draft.
Timing is everything. It's an average to weak quarterback class, and who's quarterback 2 on the market?
Well, I'd say timing and price point.
I think people are willing to pay. Look at Kirk Cousins, what he made. Price point's important. But Kirk Cousins and Dak, you're going to pay more than you want. There are some things you're going to pay more than you want.
Kirk is a great point. Didn't he get $40 million a year?
Yeah, and off a surgery at 39. Dak's 31 today and no big health issues. And winning more than Kirk Cousins.
I like how you spend money, huh? that.
I mean, there's certain things in life. Transportation. I'm going to spend what I'm going to spend. Quarterbacks. I got to spend what I got to spend. If I want Josh Allen or Lamar or Mahomes, I got to spend what I got to spend. I'll make it up on guards, linebackers, safeties, and slot corners. Tight ends. I'm not going cheap on quarterbacks. Toilet paper, quarterbacks, transportation. Don't go cheap. Comparison is the thief of joy. Easy to envy other people's lives, right? Especially Instagram. Go to all these platforms, TikTok. Everybody having a great time. Everybody looks beautiful.